Hell breaks loose when Trump exposes a global scam that was being swept under the rug. On this Monday, May 25, 2026, he linked the deal with Iran to the demand that nations like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan move forward with the Abraham Accords with Israel. While NATO makes a binding commitment to Ukraine, Cuba rushes to receive rice from China. Tehran tries to maintain control over the Strait of Hormuz, and the left treats the protest in Caracas as if the whole world were against Washington. Trump's move was simple and forceful. Those who talk about peace need to take a stand, those who ask for protection need to share the cost, and those who use a crisis to hide their interests now stand before the world. The farce burned out because Trump hit the right nerve, took leaders out of their diplomatic comfort zone, and showed that a lot of Brazilian rhetoric falls apart. When it comes time to sign, pay, open routes, recognize Israel, or confront regimes that thrive on anti-Americanism, what did Trump discover that they were trying to hide? Why did so many leaders back down when the demands became public? How can this pressure turn the tables against Iran, Cuba, NATO? I'll tell you all about it in a moment, but right now you'll want to be subscribed to the channel to stay well informed. Real-time information with the best journalistic quality you've ever seen. Milson Alves, the standard of credibility. Trump didn't just put a diplomatic proposal on the table. He tied the agreement with Iran to a bigger political demand in the Middle East. The demand was directed at nations like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan, so that they participate in the Abraham Accords and publicly state whether they truly want regional stability or if they prefer to keep normalization with Israel stalled out of fear of internal backlash. The Associated Press reported that Trump advocated making this participation mandatory as part of the negotiation effort with Iran. Reuters also showed that the proposal met resistance, especially because leaders in the region still use the Palestinian issue as a barrier to moving forward with Israel. That's where the strategy becomes clear. Trump wasn't just trying to make a deal to end the war with Iran. He tried to turn this agreement into a tool of regional pressure. If Iran wants relief, if the Arabs want stability, if Israel wants security, and if global trade wants open passage, then each one needs to put something concrete on the table. Trump put everyone on the same board and ended up exposing those who talk about peace but run away when peace requires a public decision. Iran felt the weight of this pressure because the Strait of Hormuz became central to the negotiations. Marco Rubio said that the talks involved opening the passage and starting new nuclear negotiations, while Iranian officials went to Doha to discuss a possible framework to end the nearly 3-month conflict with the United States. The international press itself reported that the sensitive points involved the Iranian uranium stockpile, frozen assets, sanctions, and maritime passage rules. The move with Oman reinforces this view. Tehran is seeking a joint mechanism for security in the Strait of Hormuz, with maritime traffic protocols and participation from coastal nations. This doesn't happen because Iran suddenly became generous. It happens because military, economic, and diplomatic pressure has put the issue front and center. Trump wanted an open route, ships passing through, and less room for maritime blackmail. NATO was also exposed. Mark Rutte's plan called for allies to set aside 0.25% of their GDP every year for military aid to Ukraine. The United Kingdom, France, Italy, Spain, and Canada blocked the proposal, so the plan failed without unanimous support. This detail is essential because it reveals the difference between rhetoric and obligation. When it was time to make statements against Moscow, many spoke loudly. When the cost became a formal obligation, part of the alliance backed down. Trump didn't need to destroy NATO's narrative. The internal resistance itself showed the limit of European enthusiasm for the war. Taiwan appears on another front of that same pressure. The $14 billion arms sale to Taipei was put on hold amid tensions in the Middle East and the rapprochement with Beijing, according to the Washington Post. Trump is weighing inventory, risk, and priority before opening another sensitive front in the Indo-Pacific. The very debate over munitions shows that the United States needs to calculate where to allocate each military package, especially when Washington is still dealing with Iran, Ukraine, and security in the Pacific at the same time. The discussion about munitions exposes another farce. Analysts interviewed by Al Jazeera pointed out that the reduction in stockpiles may be weighing on Washington's calculations about whether or not to resume the war against Tehran. For years, the American military machine was stretched by conflicts, foreign commitments, and industrial dependence. Trump now appears as the president who needs to make decisions based on actual stockpiles, not on pretty bureaucratic talking points. War isn't won with catchphrases. War requires missiles, ammunition, logistics, and factories running. In India, Marco Rubio faced a question about racism against Indians in the United States during an official visit to New Delhi. He responded by saying that every nation has stupid people, but stated that the United States has been enriched by people who arrived, became Americans, assimilated the way of life, and contributed to the nation. The statement caused a stir, but also showed a direct defense of the idea of assimilation. Rubio did not treat immigration as an empty slogan. He spoke about entry, integration, and real contribution to the American project. Venezuela stands as the clearest symbol of the anti-Trump reaction. In Caracas, protesters linked to Nicolas Maduro's camp burned images of Trump and Marco Rubio, trying to turn the scene into proof of a popular backlash against Washington. When Chavistas burn Trump and Rubio, they show who feels threatened by the return of a tough foreign policy against socialist regimes. It's not the whole world speaking. It's an ideological structure reacting because they know that Trump and Rubio treat Venezuela and Cuba as security problems in the hemisphere. Cuba confirms this same pattern. The island received 15,000 tons of rice from China at the port of Havana as part of a planned package of 60,000 tons while facing a deep crisis. At the same time, Washington has increased pressure on networks linked to travel and support for the Cuban regime, with investigations involving activists and organizations accused of possible sanctions violations. China provided food. Cuba sought external support. Marco Rubio also made it clear that the chances of a negotiated agreement with Cuba are not high, citing the island's current leadership and security ties with United States adversaries. The global farce is exposed because all the fronts follow the same logic. In the Middle East, leaders want peace without paying the political cost of normalization. In Iran, the regime wants relief without giving up its leverage. In NATO, allies want American leadership without turning a promise into an annual obligation. In Taiwan, critics want unlimited commitment without discussing stockpiles and military priorities. In India, they want to accuse the United States but avoid acknowledging the strength of American assimilation. In Venezuela and Cuba, leftist regimes rail against Trump because they know that tolerance is over. I'm Milson Alves, an international relations specialist, and my purpose is to keep you accurately informed every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe, and check the comments at the end to engage more with the Milson Alves community.